Welcome back to part 2 of strumming. This is going to be, according to our strum sheet, this is moving on strum 5, 6, and 7. So in the very beginning of the other one, just briefly what we've talked about was keeping your arm forward, strumming somewhere around this area just forward of the sound hole. You get a little better tone, a little warmer tone, a lot more stability. Wrist rotation is very important. Finger extension is even more important. So we left off on strum 4, which is this one, a basic folk strum. Let's go back to strum 3 for a moment, which is this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the basis of the next couple strums. So instead of looking at this as down, up, down, up, down, up, down, you want to begin to think of it differently. Think of it as strum, ka-ching, a strum, ka-ching, a strum, ka-ching, a strum, ka-chinga. Now kachinga is a complete nonsense word. You've never heard of it, probably any other teacher, unless they were taught by me, in which case they're probably going, God, this kachinga concept is gold. Strum, ka-chinga, strum, ka-chinga, strum, ka-chinga, strum, ka-chinga. The important part of this strum is the kachinga. In fact, I can take the strum out and just leave the kachinga. Kachinga, 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 kachinga. It would still sound pretty good. Strum, kachinga, strum, kachinga, strum. What we're going to do with the next strum is we're going to use a pluck in between the kachingas. On the pluck, we're going to use our thumb. We're just going to touch the top string and very lightly pluck it. We're not trying to make it the loud part of the strum. Actually, the middle of the kachinga is the loud part of the strum. So we could think of this now as pluck, ka-chinga, pluck, ka-chinga, pluck, ka-chinga, pluck, ka-chinga. Or you could count them. Go 1, ka-chinga, 2, ka-chinga, 3, ka-chinga, 4, ka-chinga. Because if you start thinking with your brain, if you're trying to go like pluck, up, down, pluck, up, down, pluck, up, down, it's just not going to have the flow. So you want to think of it as kachingas. Pluck, kachinga, pluck, kachinga. Now where do we use this in music? Well, lots of songs work great with this. Any reggae-based song, island-based rhythms will work great. This is, I think, more of an island-based strum. So you could do, for example, one love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. So there's a Bob Marley one, right? Well, what if we do it without the pluck? If we just do one love, one, I mean that's destroy the feel of the song, right? So this pluck strum's really useful. Sometimes it's called an offbeat strum. So it's kind of like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. For the same reason, this same strum, pluck, ka-chinga, pluck, ka-chinga, pluck, ka-chinga, works really well with, think of like early John Denver music. You could do like, Almost Heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River, pluck, ka-chinga, pluck, ka-chinga. It's the same rhythm we used with the Bob Marley song. Why that is, we won't go into that. Why get into controversy? But it turns out if you learn this rhythm, strum 5 on the strum sheet, pluck, ka-chinga, pluck, ka-chinga, very good. Works well when you can passable with Hawaiian songs. Very smooth, flowing, creates that offbeat kind of a feel. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's move on past this now to strum 6. But before we do, a little detail about that pluck. You want to develop it so that you always get that downward rotation. when you pluck. You don't want to pluck and then keep your finger here, because if you do, your hand's going to go, which way do I go, which way do I go, which way do I go? But if you commit to the downward rotation on the pluck, your hand's going to know which way to go, because you've already been training your hand to develop this finger extension and wrist rotation. And so this is the natural motion that will develop if you learn to strum correctly. That's a big if. But pluck, ka-ching. So notice how my wrist kind of commits downward after the thumb pluck. It's going to look a lot like the follow through of a down strum. And if you do that, it's going to be really easy. You're not going to be left going, which way do I go, which way do I go? Because it's always going the same, down, up, down, up, down, up. Like a metronome-like motion. This is the flow you want to get going just as a matter of habit, a matter of muscle memory, which really goes back to developing a good strum 3. So sometimes we tell people to spend a week on strum 3 before you even think about any of the more advanced strums. If you're on this video, we assume you already know strum 3 like the back of your hand. You've already got good finger extension, you've already got good wrist rotation, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video yet unless you're just curious about what's out there. Well, a lot. What else is out there? A chop strum, or a chuck strum, or a palm mute. Depends on who you're talking to. The technique is this. It looks a lot like a regular strum, except I stop the tone. How do I stop the tone? Well, I'm going to put the palm of my hand down right kind of on top of the sound hole. Now, by the way, if you have guitaritis, this technique does not work at all. So in guitaritis, if I've got my hand back here and the uke way down here, when I try to put my hand down, my hand's not on top of the strings. That's a big disadvantage. So if you've got the uke in the right position, when you snap your fingers downward, you can just put your hand down on top of the uke strings like that and stop them. So to develop this strum for strum 6, sometimes it's called a percussive strum or a backbeat strum. A good way to develop this technique is to do 4 regular strums and then do 4 chop strums. 4 regular strums and then 4 chop strums. And what you're really teaching your hand when you do this exercise is not so much what they have in common. Well, wait, no, the other way around. I said that completely wrong. What you are teaching your hand is precisely that. It's what they have in common, not what they have that's different. Because they have almost everything in common. Almost everything. They've got the same wind-up. They've got the same follow-through. The wind-up and follow-through, if you look at it from more than 10 feet away, you almost can't see what is he doing there. But now you know, the palm mute. The palm comes down and stops the string. So we get this purely percussive sound. So once you've got this, you can mix it in with the rhythm. What's the basic rhythm we're going to mix it in with? Of course, it's ka-chinga. So we could go ka-chinga chop, ka-chinga chop, ka-chinga chop, ka-chinga chop. So this is a basic rock rhythm. Percussive strum. It's especially useful on a song like the Awimo Up song. Awimo up, awimo up, awimo up, awimo up, awimo up, awimo up, awimo up. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. So if I do it like this, there's kind of a little toe tapping kind of a feel to it. If I play this song without the strum, if I just go, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, now it's kind of like, yawn, it's kind of a lullaby. But not with the chop in there, it's not a lullaby anymore. Now it's like, hey, maybe I should ask her to dance. percussive strum. Very important. That technique is not only applicable on this strum, by the way, because eventually we're going to combine all these individual techniques into more complex strums, but that's when we get onward, like strum 8 or strum 9, or onward there. Somehow we have this blended in with different techniques. Okay, strum 7, the last of the basic techniques. This is the hardest of the basic techniques. This is a basic double upstrum, and this is really the key to Hawaiian strums, is this technique. What we're going to do is our wrist is always rotating like this, remember. If we take a basic strum 3, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, what we're going to do is we're going to insert a double upstrum. How do we do that? Well, if we slow it down a little bit, we look a little more forward, one wrist rotation, instead of coming upward with just my finger like that, I'm going to hit my thumbnail followed by my index finger. So the trick is keeping your fingers about yay far apart. That's a technical measurement. It comes all the way from the Bible. It's called a yay. Not really, but yay. Yay. So I can do it. I can close up all my other fingers if I want to and get this rhythm giddy up. So we could do, if you do it too much, it sounds like you're riding a saddle, right? Bonanza. So you don't want to do it too much unless you're making a background track for like an old western or something. But if you do it just occasionally, this technique is really useful because it makes chord changes kind of spring out. So that part of a chord change that used to be a liability, right when you're unfretted, now we're making it interesting by doing that little double upstrum. So it's giddy up, 2, 3, 4, 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 giddy up, 2, 3, 4. So the trick to it is really letting your wrist continue to rotate smoothly. Can't emphasize that enough. Which is, spending a week, 2 weeks, a month if necessary on strum 3 to get this wrist rotation and finger extension set. Once it is, all you got to do is throw your thumb out there. So what's important here is where people go astray in the strum is they try to move their thumb and then move their finger to try to make it 2 wrist rotation. If it feels awkward, it probably is awkward. It'll sound awkward too. It'll look awkward, everything about it. The trick is to just keep the same smooth rolling strum 3 and every once in a while just go da-da-da. So the rest of the rhythm's not disrupted. Now where this really comes into its own, this is going to be when you get into a hula vamp. That's a little more farther forward, but that's an example of the application of this strum that makes it sound especially Hawaiian. If you can get that thumb, nobody will ever know why you sound better. They'll just know that you sound better. And they'll like, oh, it's the same chords, why does it sound better? That little is huge, it makes a huge difference. Because without it, it's okay, nothing special. That is a world of difference, that little subtlety. What makes people sound good on a ukulele. And I got to give credit where I learned from watching that from Uncle Richard Ho'opi'i, one of the people that I call my teachers. I learned a ton from him just watching his hands up close when he was strumming. I was like, how are you doing that? What are you doing? And he slowed it down for me, and I went, wow, that was that's when I all of a sudden got good at strumming ukulele, just by watching Uncle Richard, just like that. So I encourage you to watch him too and listen to his falsetto. It's amazing. Wonderful, wonderful guy. All right, now we can start combining these, but we should probably put that in another video because this one's probably getting close to 15 minutes, and I wanted to keep them kind of, lengthy enough to have good content, but short enough that they don't go over 15 minutes and you don't get bored. So check out the next videos for more. Thanks very much, and aloha.